let's get into the news, folks. So there was a protest and a demonstration in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, over the police murdering someone 5 minutes down the road from me. So I was there, and I will be showcasing, I'm going to be reading this article, and then I'm going to be recapping on my Twitter feed, because I've got, the whole thing was documented. So I'm going to be reading this article, and then I'll recap my perspective, and then fill in the blanks for anyone that wants to know the details, as I was there. I have videographic evidence of me being there, and I will tell you what happened in between the sections. So this is an article from the News and Observer, and so let's read. A black man was shot and killed in North Carolina on Wednesday by sheriff's deputies carrying out a search warrant, officials said, an incident that drew national attention and dozens of protesters to the streets of Elizabeth City. Dozens is one way to put it. There was definitely well over 200 people at the peak of it. So dozens is definitely, like, if we're talking about multiples of hundreds, dozens is one way to put it. Nearly 200 people gathered Wednesday night in Elizabeth City to protest the death and call for justice. Pasquotank County Sheriff Tommy Wooten identified the man as Andrew Brown Jr., news station WAVI reported that family members said Brown was 40 years old, but public records show he was 42. Another thing that's important here, as this guy Wooten decided to do this press conference, and just then went into the shadows. He just went into maybe took some notes out of Saddam Hussein's playbook or something. Just hid somewhere in a hole, right? Because again, it's fine when you're doing a thing for television. Great. Go out there, do your television thing, right? But when the people that actually fucking live in the motherfucking city, right, the neighbors of the motherfucker that got shot and killed by your fucking stupid ass police force, right, the family of the person who got shot and killed, right, in broad daylight in front of children, when they want to have answers, all of a sudden, sorry, there's not enough cameras here, says Tommy Wooten. There's not enough cameras for me to feel comfortable giving anyone any information. I need at least 18 cameras and 36 microphones before I feel comfortable speaking about anything, right? And I want to give, because I live here, I want to give some corroborating details here, some additional information about this motherfucker, Tommy Wooten. So this dumb bitch, stupid fuckface asshole motherfucker, had the balls to come to a protest last year, right? We had a demo after George Floyd was murdered on international television. We had a demo here. It was relatively small. And this dumb bitch motherfucker had the gall to show up at that demonstration, take a megaphone, and say, "This will never happen here." That's what he said less than a year ago. And then, of course, as soon as it happens here, he's nowhere to be found. He's gone. He's off. He's on vacation all of a sudden. Sorry. Maybe he's going to Cancun or something. Who the fuck knows? Seriously? Again, I want to remind everyone, all cops are bastards. Yes, even the one you vote for. Yes, your brother. Yes, your sister. Yes, your mother. Yes, your father. There is no such thing as a good cop. When push comes to shove, they will fuck you over. They don't care about you. When it comes to their job and their financial security versus your bitch ass, guess what, motherfucker? They're taking the job. They don't give a fuck about you, right? So I want to be very, very clear. There is no good cop. There is no, oh, but my best friend, from college is like, no, you don't have a best friend anymore. They chose the motherfucking police force over your friendship. And I need you to understand that, dude. There is no good cop. So when this dumb bitch comes out here last year and says this will never happen in this city because our law enforcement loves each other and we participate in the community. Shut the fuck up, you stupid piece of garbage. So, now all the other details here. Now that's me. I wonder who that is over there. There's a person. All the other details here I covered in another clip. But I want to get into what happened in the protest, and I've got footage here. I was originally going to do a thread, but I found that was too difficult when things started moving. But so, yeah, so I showed up, and, you know, there wasn't that many people when I showed up. There was, like, just, you know, these cops and then people, like, talking to the cops. And then, like, you know, a bunch of people started showing up. And then a bunch of state troopers, like, just drove in. And that was, like, you know, pretty interesting. So it's, like, the whole time here, like, before anyone showed up, you know, there was maybe, like, a dozen folks. And they were just bussing in cops. Like, cop car after cop car, state troopers. I heard the FBI was there. They were busting them in. They're like, oh shit, we killed someone. Time to occupy the motherfucking city like a militarized fucking, you know, like World War fucking style fucking, like, you know, occupation. It's ridiculous, man. Right? And when the protest actually started moving, I shit you not, I counted probably in the realm of like 50 or 60 cop cars, right? Because I actually tried to count when we were at a point where we were in the intersection, and I'll get into that in a moment. I counted at least 30 in that point, and then when we walked down the street, there was like another 30, right? There was a shitload of motherfucking cop cars. There was state troopers, there was local police, there was county police, right? It was ridiculous. There were unmarked cars as well. There was like probably a good third of them were unmarked. I don't know if that's the FBI. I don't know what's going on, right? And you can tell they've got the little meme sirens in the fucking, you know, dashboard, right? So, you know, I just want to say that, like, there are a shitload of cops. And isn't that interesting that the first thing that they do isn't, I don't know, release the body cam footage? Nah. Oh, we're not going to release the body cam footage. Are they going to tell us who shot and killed Andrew? No. Who cares? Are they going to tell us about why they decided to shoot and kill someone in front of children? Why would they do that? What they're going to do is they're going to bus in all of their best friends. Yes, your brother who's a cop. Yes, your father who's a cop. Yes, your sister who's a cop, right? Shut the fuck up about your fucking family. And you're, oh, my best friend's sister's goldfish is a cop. They bust them in, and they weren't on our side. They weren't protesting the police shooting. They were trying to, like, corral us. They were trying to tell us what we can and we can't do. Oh, don't be violent. Don't be loud. Why? Don't do it. Why? Just be calm. Why? You weren't calm when you decided to execute not an arrest warrant, but a search warrant, and decided to just shoot someone in front of children in broad daylight. Oh, I wonder why someone would be driving at 8:30 in the morning. It's almost like, I don't know, that's when people go to work. You know? But anyway, so they had an emergency city council meeting. Now, to my understanding, and this is what I was told by a witness, is that one of his children, who was 14, was in the car as of the shooting. Now, I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know exactly. You know, I wasn't there, so I don't know. And of course, wouldn't it be great if the cops would tell us? Right? So when you've got a witness on the scene telling us that a 14-year-old was in the car as this man was murdered, right? That leads me to believe, oh shit. And the cops are going like, wait, oh, we're not going to tell you anything. That leads me to believe there's one fuck mother of a cover-up going on. That's what I think. So yeah, so we stand outside of the city council. And so like they do this emergency session. They don't let anyone in. And so then people from the city council come out and they tell us, you know, that we need to be calm and we need to wait for an investigation and all that kind of stuff. And then so the crowd basically said no. And then we started marching to, you know, the sheriff's station. And then at that point, we just started marching around the city. And so this is where I get a lot of footage here. And then this is where at the police place, right, you can see a lot of these people with Halloween costumes. These people are like, I mean, you know, to me, April Fool's was 3 weeks ago. But if you want to dress up, maybe there's a costume party. I don't know. But you see these people like with their fucking like, what is that? What is that helmet? Seriously. Seriously, what is this? What is that? Does anyone know what that is? That's not someone I should take seriously. Okay, if you go outside looking like that, like, my God. Like, are you okay? Like, what the fuck is that? What is that? Seriously, and then we have this bald prick, probably a skinhead, right? You know, just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna put my helmet. What is that? What the fuck is that? It's a Halloween costume is what it is. So there's probably a solid couple dozen of these people, and they start forming a line. And so we decide to just like, you know, test their patience. And we go through that line, and we start occupying the major highway that is what connects this city to the other nearby locations. There's a bridge on this road. And so we decided to occupy the road here, as you can see. And then there was a decision to do a die-in. If you don't know what a die-in is, where everyone lays down and simulates them dying on the floor, which is what happened to Andrew, who was shot and killed, and his body was left on the pavement for hours. His dead body in front of children was left on the pavement for hours, right? So this is, you know, it's symbolic of that. And this is where the police really started to realize that they needed to get their shit together. Now, if you can see in these clips, you can see we interrupt traffic, and it's very interesting. And this is where they start busting in like cop car after cop car after cop car after cop car. Because the way I read this is, so they thought that the city council emergency session would placate the public, and it didn't, right? And so they had everything ready, you know, just in case, right? And then when they realized, wait a second, and now you can see, does this look like dozens of people to you, or does this look like a couple hundred? To me, it looks like a couple hundred, right? But no, media is saying, oh yeah, there's a couple dozen protesters, maybe like 10 or 12 protesters showed. No, this isn't 10 or, this isn't a couple dozen. And this is a small town. I'm going to be honest with you. I was highly impressed at the amount of people that came out. And over the course of the evening, more and more and more people came out to support the protest. And so I want to be very upfront with that. It's not dozens of protesters. This was absolutely hundreds. And so around this point is when they start getting a bunch of cop cars. And then so, you know, there's a little bit of gap in this. There's about an hour gap because my phone was a little low on battery. Because, you know, because I didn't expect, you know, for this to happen. So I was only at like 50%. So, and so basically what we do is we just march down the street. And so once we do that, in this city, for those of you that don't know, obviously no one else lives here, right? We've got like two major roads. This is the first one right here. And then this is the second one. And the second ones were all like, you know, all the restaurants are the chain restaurants. You got your fucking Taco Bell. You got your fucking Bojangles. You got all your fast food chain restaurants that sap money out of small towns and send that money, steal that money, and send it off to fucking bigwig corporations that don't give a fuck about us, right? Maybe there's a couple locally owned restaurants on this city, but most of them are chain restaurants, right? And then so now I want to be honest, okay? The CVS was boarded up here, right? Look at this. Look at that. The CVS was boarded up. It wasn't boarded up when the protest started. At this point, because when I walked to City Hall, or like, you know, I was driven there, but like the CVS wasn't boarded up, right? But as soon as like the protests started getting a little bit off the rails, we gotta guard the CVS, right? Of course, no one did anything. This is like the problem when it comes to me with like fucking business owners, right? And you got all these white people out there, and yeah, I'm talking about the white people. You don't see non-white people do this shit, going out there and saying the rioters and the looters, everybody, the rioters and the looters are gonna come kick our asses. Like what? What world do you live in where, you know, what's more important are not, you know, the police killing people? That's fine. That's great. But what's really scary are the fictional, imaginary rioters and looters, like running through the streets and like kicking my grandma in the shin. Like, what the fuck is this world that these people live in? But of course, the owners of CVS, you know, they're so scared. Oh, the rioters and the looters, they're gonna get bussed in. The black people running through the streets, protesting, their family being murdered, shot by the cops. How dare they? You never know when they're gonna riot and loot. They could just riot and loot at any point. Oh, how are we going to prepare ourselves? We need to protect the, you know, shampoo and the razor blades and the nail polish. Oh, no. I'm serious, man. These people are fucking crazy. And around this point, I noticed this around the same point, is there was a significant amount of drone action, as you can see. I counted at least 2 in this clip here. But I did see a couple others as the protest went on.
got the camera on it.
And then you can see another one over there. Pretty cool. I love, you know, drones, right? And, so yeah, I'm sorry, whoever's in the chat, like, I'm not doing that shit. So yeah, so at this point, you know, we're on the major road, and we shut down the major road, which is like, you know, the chain restaurant commerce section of the city, because, you know, the idea here is you hit them where it hurts, their wallet, right? People cannot, all of a sudden, they can't go get their Taco Bell. Oh no! I can't go get Taco Bell! Whatever will I do without my KFC and my McDonald's? Oh no! I can't get my Dairy Queen. My world is falling apart. I can't have my Dairy Queen, is probably what the people on this highway were thinking about. Oh, why are the protesters making me unable to acquire my Dairy Queen? Right. So we occupy this major road for a little bit, and then a bunch of cops show up, like a shitload of cops show up. And so we basically decide to turn around and go back to City Hall. And so the idea of the protest, this is actually pretty interesting of a tactic here, is the cops are constantly trying to predict what exactly like the protesters are going to go and do. And so at that point, what we would do is we would constantly like turn around and then like make them drive around the city. It was like, you know, playing a game of, you know, I don't know. There's a game like that, I guess. And then you can see I retweeted a bunch of footage as well of other people that were at the scene. I also retweeted myself a couple times. You know, I'm sorry. You know, I wonder who that is. So we have, you know, some footage here. So yeah, so I would say the protest kind of broke up at around like maybe 10:30ish. And so basically we all met back at City Hall and decided that we would show up tomorrow, which is today, and do basically the same thing until we get the sheriff, the guy who, again, and the guy, Wooten, yeah, last year, he literally, I shit you not, he said, if anyone wants my cell phone number so that you can contact me about anything that you'd ever be worried about, right? And he gave away his cell phone number at this demonstration last year when he said that no one would ever be shot and killed by police in Elizabeth City, right? People were calling him. We had his cell phone number. Didn't pick up. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? The guy who last year said, if you ever need me, if anything ever happens and you need to contact your local sheriff, here's my phone number. Isn't that interesting? Just all of a sudden, once we need ya, oh, straight to voicemail. Right? So, what the plan is, you know, to my understanding, is we're going to continue to protest until we at least get some video evidence. We understand why the fuck people were executing a search warrant that don't live here. Like, it wasn't the local police, right? Until we understand why the fuck they decided to shoot this person in front of children. Why they decided to shoot this person at all over a search warrant. You're right? There's a lot of details here that we need to have answers about. And so these motherfuckers are just going to try to disappear. They're going to try to, like, pretend that they never existed in the first place. And that's just not going to work. And so I just want to say I am extremely proud of the town that I live in. I did not expect the town that I live in to show up in this capacity. And I'm highly impressed. And everyone that did show up is a wonderful and beautiful person. And I will be covering this again tonight. And so if you want to see live footage of what's going on, I will be, you know, doing that tonight on my Twitter page. And so definitely follow me if that's what you want to do. And I will, you know, do another recap tomorrow if anything happens. I don't know. It's also possible that no one shows up tonight. I mean, who knows? I mean, like, I can't predict the future. But again, there is very, 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 very clear signals of a massive cover-up going on. right here. Again, witnesses saying that a 14-year-old was in the car. Cops not giving us any details. Cops misreporting a bunch of details. And again, like, his body was laying in the street for hours. And it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Were there mostly black or white people protesting? I would say, well, my city is a majority black city, but the protest, I would say, is 75-25-ish. Black versus white. Not that it matters, obviously, but I consider myself one of the cool white people. That's what I consider myself. And there were, a couple other, interesting white people there. But, yeah. But yeah, so if y'all ever hear about this in any other of your podcasts that you listen to, I was there. I would, just in case anyone ever hears this this clip, I would love to go on and explain the details of this, especially once more details emerge. Because, again, they're, like, them not releasing any information for such, like, again, releasing body cam footage at the very least, right? Leads me to believe that there's a massive conspiracy going on here. And so, I don't know. I wouldn't trust what you read in the media on this subject as of this moment. I definitely would not trust what you see in the media at this point. Again, the media is talking about how this guy had, he maybe smoked pot in high school, bro. And therefore, like, I'm sorry, like, it's a little ridiculous to me. But, yeah, so that was my night. I walked home, and I took a shower, and I went to bed. So, well, I cooked dinner because I was hungry, and then I went to bed. And then I woke up, and now I'm doing this podcast. So, there you go.